Well, you never know. Today might be your luckiest day. By the way, have you ever heard of a stories of somebody who actually got some good money? Maybe let's say you bought yourself a small piece of land somewhere, and then all of a sudden, if you come from Kenya, the Kenya, these are highway authorities decide to make a road within that place, and they're gonna buy that piece of land, and then all of a sudden, you got yourself a million bob in your pocket. Or maybe let's say just you're kind of an individual and you're out there, and probably you receive something that you didn't even plan. You get some money that it was not along your line. You didn't even expect it, but here it is. You got some good money. And then we got some stories of people squandering that money. They lose all the cash and they're like, oh, I wish I knew I couldn't do this and all those kind of things. Hey, before that time comes, this is what you're supposed to do. If you get a good amount of money suddenly, that is, you did not plan about it. Okay, let's get into the business. But hey, if you're watching me for the first time, hey, don't forget, my name is Good Joseph. I post a video about finance and investments each and every day. And if you don't want to miss any of good videos like this one, consider hitting that subscription button. And by the way, there is a small button down below there written subscribe. It just like this, looks like this hand, okay? Just hit it. It does not cost you anything. It's free of charge. Let's get into the business. Now, point number one. Did you hit that like button? Yeah, thank you. Point number one that you're not supposed to do. I know, can you imagine this? The moment you get a good thing, what really the first thing that clicks in your head? You guess it right. You think of sharing, telling somebody, all right? The mistake that you do is to share. Do not share. Do not tell anybody. If you're married, sometimes it's not good to immediately share some of the information. And if you were to share the information with your partner, then break it down in a sequential, in a sort of a what. Unless things happens like abruptly in their presence, then there's no problem. But if maybe let's say you're not married and you got some parents there, don't even share this information to your parents. Just retain the information, absorb it, let sink. So by the time you're sharing, you are sober. All right. So that temptation that you're having out there of sharing the information, don't share. It's called about what? Sharing. Don't what? Don't share the information first. What thing that you're supposed to do? In most cases, what we share, remember one thing and never forget this the rest of your life. What they know, they attack it. What they do not, they talk about it. It's rather them think that you have the money, but you have never confirmed to them. That's a reality. If you come from Africa, you know what I mean. The moment your family members or your relatives knows that you have money, guess what? They're all over your shoulders. And if you do not help them, you just know exactly what happened. So let them think that you do have the money, but never confirm to them. All right? Unless you are a billionaire like Elon Musk, you can't hide that one. Okay? Now, the point is this. That temptation that you're having out there of sharing, that's the most dangerous thing. By the way, if you come from Kenya, there was a story that happened in Ukambani. There was a boy who, won, I don't know, 200K from betting and what have you. The guy shared with the friends and what have you. It's a very horrible story. I don't want to finish the story. You guys, you can check it out, what happens. All the, fine, be careful. Don't share the information. Retain it to yourself and be disciplined. Number two, the thing that you're not supposed to do or do at the same time is that don't abruptly change your lifestyle. There are these people that maybe immediately they win, they think of buying those things that they think they are better. Hey, they think of changing their couches, the TV, the telly, the computing, the clothing, the places where they hang around, they change their friends. And don't abruptly change the lifestyle. No. If you do so, then that's gonna affect you a lot of things. Then ask yourself, and always tell people, hey, what are things you're supposed to understand? And I think this, I say though, don't change your what? Don't change your lifestyle immediately. Take your time. Take your time, okay? Play low. And by the way, this goes the point number 3. Let me just join them together. Conserve what you call conserve low demeanor. Conserve what? A low demeanor, okay? So if you conserve that low demeanor, it means like, hey, you're just retaining that sort of a normal way, nothing happened, you're just there, people can't even tell. Even if they were to attack, they don't even know where they can attack. But if you're flossing and flocking every time here, showing people that you actually made it and all those kind of things. Right now, as you understand, a lot of people are suffering. A lot of people are facing a lot of challenges out there. So it is good when you're careful so that at least you do not share some of this information, because you can get yourself into lots of problems, okay? So the point is this: at all the occasion and at all the time, make sure that at least you do not change your lifestyle. I did not say never change your lifestyle. No, I said do not change your lifestyle abruptly or immediately. Okay, just observe yourself around, and again refer to the things that you say that you're gonna be doing once you get the money. Refer to the business plan that you have ever bought from Good Joseph and ask yourself, okay, among all this that I have, what can I be able to do? Okay, first of all, prioritize the things. Okay, maybe if you look back at your family, maybe you look back at you whatever, just learn to prioritize some of the things. Okay, you see, hey, I need this one, I need a piece of property somewhere, I need to invest on this. Hey, guess what, I have this cash, I want to maintain it. And by the way, I forgot to tell you something. I should have started with this one. Immediately you get such amount of money, or whichever amount of money, the first thing that should click in your head, it should be, oh goodness, how can I retain this money? How can I make this money at least see 24 hours with me? How can I make this money be with me? The money has already been channeled into your account. Do not lose it. I repeat my point. Immediately you get the money into your account. We have a lot of things surrounding you. They are ready to take your money. We have your bills, we have your landlady, we have your landlord, we have your debts, we have all those things are waiting for you. They want to pounce on your money and they get it out there. So the first thing you get your money, ask yourself, okay, fine. Joseph, relax. You got the money. Now, what exactly can I do so that I retain the money? The money is already under my name. How can I retain it? How can I have it continuously? That's the very first thing that you're supposed to ask yourself. And if you do exactly that, you're actually shielding yourself from actually going out there and doing the decision that can actually ruin your money out there. Number four that you're supposed to do is that consider the debts if you have them. See, you focus yourself and ask yourself, okay, fine. But this time this money shows up, I had some debts that I was servicing. Number one, hey, I have a debt from Shylock. Hey, number two, I have a bank debt. Hey, number three, I have this, I have that. Consider solving out or eradicating all those debts. Okay, pay that debt. Okay, provided that amount that you have will actually enough to pay all the debts and be able to remain with money that you can be able to invest out there. Okay, so if you can be able to focus on eliminating the debt that you have out there, that will actually, even if you were to squander that money, at least you say, hey, the money left me debt free. That's what the thing that you're supposed to consider out there. And again, I always tell people, when unprecedented occasion comes, then unprecedented moments, we usually say, hey, desperate times call for desperate actions. You have to do that. So if you've been thinking in an average way, say like you've been thinking about starting a business worth like 100,000, you got yourself some couple of millions. Then, of course, you're supposed to up your game and think of, hey, fine, I've been looking forward into starting a business of 100,000. Two options. You can decide to scoop it bigly. Maybe you go for a bigger one, or just get the 100,000 that you've been planning for yourself each and every time and ask yourself, okay, I've been saying I want to start a business worth 100,000, and here I have like a couple of millions. How about I go out there and do that for 100,000 and see whether I can actually survive, or it's just a mere dream and I did not even know what I was saying out there. So that is the thing that you're supposed to say. Hey, but the point is here is, focus if you do have the debts with you anytime just headlining you. If you have those debts, focus on filling those debts. Because, hey, remember one thing, when you have those debts and maybe the unhealthy ones, you're going to get yourself into lots of problems. Okay? Now, we go to the next point. Because I actually see some people usually get that amount of money. The only thing that they think about is actually buying a piece of property and building their home. No, sometimes you ask yourself, do I really need a home right now? Or do I need to multiply this amount of money so that I can generate what we call the cash flow, so that I can be able to sustain my life? Different lifestyle differs from one person to the other. The money can show up when you already have some asset in terms of the pieces of lands, but you never had the capacity to build. So if you build at that occasion, and maybe you had a business in existence, so building your home and also improving the business that you have, that's okay. But if you had zero, maybe you're renting, you have nothing, you have no piece of land, you have nothing, you do not have even a cash flow, and then you take that entire amount of money, maybe say you have an access of 4 million, and then you take the entire amount of money, buy a piece of land and build your home. The 4 million is just dead somewhere. It's like a dead capital. It's not generating nothing. And then you go back to the hustling. It wasn't like a very wise kind of a decision. All right. So at that particular point, consider that what works for you. Just because it worked for somebody does not mean that it's gonna work for you. It's always good to make sure that you have a difference in understanding of all those two things. Okay. Now, number 4, that was about what? Consider if you have what? Consider if you have what? Debts. Okay, and focus on eliminating those debts that are out there. Now, the other thing is avoid consumerism or consumer mindset. Avoid that consumerism, aka consumer mindset. You see, I've ever heard of this kind of guys who get money and then the only thing they think about is about consuming. Yeah, you ask them, if today you were to win X and X amount of party, then what would you do? Hey, guess what? I'm telling you myself, the first thing I'll go out there and treat myself in the nicest luxury sort of a thing. And they just view money from a consumer point of view, consuming point of view. That's not the best way to view money the moment it shows up in your basket. Okay, it is not the time to grab that thing that you've been looking for. And I know there are some people who usually reason this way. They say, hey, guess what? The moment I get money, I don't want to think about nothing. I just want to get that thing that I've been looking forward into getting. Maybe there's a certain meal that you would like to get. You go out there, you want to grab that meal, you want to grab that clothing. Hey, people talk about getting those Gucci's and what have you. You want to grab those Gucci's. No, you see, there is nothing wrong with grabbing them, but the problem is that you're doing it at the wrong time. That's the difference. See, when you do it at the right time, everything is okay. But when you jump the gun and go do them at the wrong time, that's when the things becomes a little bit tough and technical for you. Why? Because you just want to see, the problem you're suffering from is that you think that you want to make yourself happy, but in real sense you want to prove to people that, hey, I'm having some money and all those kind of things. Remember one thing, observe what we call the low demeanor. Live as if you do not have it. Okay. It's good to act, and I'm precisely using this term, acting. You act as if you do not have it, and then invest it. When the people think that you do not have it, now shows up, and when I say shows up, I don't mean like telling them, hey, guess what, I was just observing a low demeanor, now I have them. No, just do the thing. And I always tell people, success does not even need any shout out. Anybody and everybody who is out there can tell, hey, this person is actually doing good in their lives. That is exactly what you're supposed to do when it comes to money, and it shows up suddenly. Okay, the other thing is that this one is quite, it can be controversial, but I have to share it with you. If you have kids and maybe you are living an average life out there, try as much as you can not to tell them that you are rich. Yeah, I repeat my point. The mistake that most of the people do is to actually go out there and you make it known even to their kids, hey, guess what? I am wealthy. Guess what? No worries now. Everybody should relax. No. The struggle now is over. Everybody should. No. What you're supposed to do, provide them with anything and everything that they need. But don't let them understand and know the secret that, hey, guess what? Papa or mama got rich in any way. So the point is this, make sure that at least you play your game so that at least they can be responsible from their end, and also you can be also responsible from your end, and you're gonna bring up yourself a very nice good family out there. Okay, so the thing is this, when I say don't make them know that you're rich, I'm not saying that you should not disclose them with your properties. No, I'm saying if you're building properties and whatever, show them that, but don't show them on the principles or the perspective of, hey, guess what, you have to invest. No. Show them on the perspective of actually passing value to them. That is exactly what you're supposed to do, because at the end of the day, I have seen a lot of families who actually go out there, get the money, they never even coach their kids on how they're supposed to manage their properties, and by the time you realize, the guy disappears in terms of the death, and then the property is gone. You're supposed to be very, very careful if you get yourself into that question. The last point is actually do not quit your job. See, if where it is possible, some people usually behave in this manner. You find that these guys, they immediately they get this money, they think of actually quitting immediately, and then at that particular point, that money maybe was not quite substantive. For example, let's say you get like 70,000 or 80,000 at the end of the month, and then immediately you get like 700k, and then these guys quit the job that was paying you 80,000. You go start with the 700k that you have. You've never been into business, you know nothing about into business, and then you've quit your job. You go start a business, and then by a few months or a year or something of sort, the money is gone. You do not even understand where the money has actually went, and you're thinking, hey, guess what exactly can I do now? And then you're thinking of going back to getting employment. So the point is this, at all the occasion, ask yourself, sit down with the pen and paper. Okay, for example, I have to quit. I have 700 G's with me. I want to start this business. Okay, how long will this business take to actually, let's say for example, I earn 80,000 at the end of the month. I'm surviving on 50,000. So if I was to start this business tomorrow with this 700,000, will this business make a profit of this amount of money at the end of the month for me to survive on 50,000? You realize you're not only getting the left money that you left in a bank to actually survive yourself, and by the time you realize the 700 cannot even survive you, how about you start a business while you're still in that employment? And when the business actually has assured you can actually sustain you, then why don't you then think of that quitting that you want, and then go do the businesses that you want to do out there? And that way, I regard it as a wise decision that you can take, unless maybe you got yourself like a humongous amount of money. That's a different case, because hey, all what I've shared here may not applicable to some people. Where it is applicable, just apply them so that at least you don't squander the money. I was watching some programs, and by the way, that video is on the YouTube, about some families in Kenya. If you come from Kenya, there's a county called Kirinyaga, and there was those guys who paved way for the construction of a certain dam there. They were compensated, and guys were crying there, oh, I don't know where my money went, I squandered all my money, I really wish if you can be reverted back to that situation, I won't do so. So those are the case scenarios that you're supposed to be using to actually understand. If you get subjected to that crazy amount of money that you've ever seen in life, you tend to think that is quite a lot of money, and it is not that what you think out there. Be very careful and be cautious, especially when it comes to the cases of money. All right, we have seen some empires getting down because of lack of plan and also discipline. Okay, for now, that's a goodbye. Don't forget to hit that like button and also subscribe to this channel, and see you in the next one.